Yeah, you know what it is. Welcome to the best coast. Yo, it's Bronze Age nerd with that collecting elite. Big B McFly, steady bringing the vintage heat. Pull up a seat, we diving in the stacks. Silver to the bronze, got the knowledge on tap. From Kirby's Kings to the mutants, wow. We breaking it down in that laid-back style. So grab your snacks, let the panels unfold. This is comic book chilling with the stories we told. Comic book vibes, we flipping them pages. Legends and lore from all the ages. Golden to the modern, we talk that news. With Big B McFly and the nerd cut loose. Yo, you tune into that Bronze Age flow, where comics live and legends grow. Big B McFly in the cut, let's fly. Best coast, baby, comics are what saved me. Big B, yeah. Best coast, baby, comics are what saved me.
That's right. Best Coast Comics coming at you. Hey, I'm Christopher, a.k.a. the Bronze Age Nerd, one of your hosts tonight. And I'm joined, as always, by my co-host,
Muhammad Ali.
He floats like a butterfly, stings like a bee. What's
Stink
up, Muhammad
like a
Ali?
bee? What? No.
Sting. No, you don't stink like a bee. I
Big
barely ever smell
McFly,
bees.
the comic guy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. We're here on Best Coast Comics talking about a real topic that I think a lot of people are going to, whether they think about it or not, you're going to identify with it. We're talking about why you can't sell your comic books, or really, it's why I can't sell my comic books. That's a very personal topic, but it ties into the idea of your collection getting too big. It ties into the idea of maybe the market being a little soft. There's a few things we're going to touch on. I think it's a fun topic. That's going to come up a little bit later. Before we get there, we're going to talk about a couple other things, like some stuff we picked up and what we've been watching, and maybe some show announcements coming up here that you need to pay attention to. And before we even get that far, I just want to point out that we're actually streaming on a few different channels right now. You might be watching on the Bronze Age Nerd YouTube channel. You might be watching on Muhammad Ali himself's channel over at Big B McFly. You might be watching over there. You might also be watching on the EXP network over on YouTube or Facebook or Twitch or Instagram. Lots of great content over there. I highly recommend checking out all three channels. Go ahead and sub them up because we want to see you over there. All right, let's say hello to our chat. We got Hydra Silent Comics, another great channel you should sub up to. That is our producer, Jay, is part of that show. You should definitely check them out. Great Heroes for Heroes and community supporter Richard Westfall in the chat. Hello, Richard. And GT Key Comic is coming in with that bronze medal, that all-important super award, the Bronze
And he's
Age
got like
medal.
the best comic book as his icon. I mean,
Yeah, easily one of the most rare comic books of the late 80s and early 90s, right?
it was at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's strange how much that's changed. Kia, what's up, Kia? How you doing? Good evening to you as well. I love your profile image there. I love that.
Yeah, that's
box.
cool.
It's
I
cute.
love it. The sly fox there.
What is up, Derek? How's it going? Got the bronze emoji. Folks, if you don't know, unfortunately, when I highlight the comments, it doesn't show up. But if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see the little emojis come up from the channel members on my channel. If you want to become a channel member, that support partially goes to Heroes for Heroes for me running that campaign. And I'll actually be talking about channel memberships over on Big B's channel here in a second, too. We'll be talking about that. So you definitely want to stay tuned. And then Psycho Phil. Yeah, it's Monday already, right? You, me, and I know my daughter didn't believe that because we were talking about her Monday chores, and she was like, "It's not Monday, it's Monday." Somebody's got a case of a Monday
today.
Yeah, Big B had a hell of a Monday.
No, it was terrible.
Derek, what's up? Hey, I was just hanging out over on Comic Tropes After Dark, watching Chris, the man himself, draw some Fast and the Furious related sketches over there while he was talking with the chat. It was really fun hanging out over there. Highly recommend hanging
You're so
out over on
talented.
Comic Tropes After Dark. Speaking of community art, which we will be here very soon on the show. Kilted Corgi in the house. What's up, Kilted Corgi? Speaking of channel members, Shigeyuki Kikita. I got a few of my channel members coming out. What's up, guys? Thanks for coming out. So yeah, you know what? Speaking of channel memberships, like I was just kind of alluding to, I won something, but I can't show it off yet. Do you think maybe you could kind of help me talk about some of the stuff?
Do you want me to show it off for you?
Sure, why not? And you can tell us a little bit about how I won that, maybe.
Oh yeah, sure. So I have a You Are the Cops, Brian. What?
I'm picturing that 90s animated cartoon. The one with like the weird big buff cops and like the future or something. It was really weird. They were like cowboy cops in the future. I don't know.
Yeah. So on my channel, we do a monthly giveaway for different levels of. Oh, hey, Chad. For different levels of membership for people who've joined at different levels. So there's a dollar bin diver where you get a different set of giveaways, and there's a key collector level where you get better books. Bronze won one of the key collector level ones, so I had to play a little catch up, and so we did some giveaways. And boy, who was it that won 3 things?
Oh yeah, you were telling me about that. I forgot.
It was. Gosh, I know his name. Anyway, Travis Comics Limited won 2 of them. Bronze won 1, and 3 of them went to
rigged.
Yeah, hashtag rigged. He's won so many times. I've told him, I'm like, that wheel loves you.
Hey, what's up, Nostalgic Pod Blast? How you doing? Greetings from the
Ben Compton. Ben Compton was the one who
Ben
won
Compton.
3 times.
I knew it started with a
He
B.
he must have won like 8 or 9 times already. But anyway, so these are some of the things that Bronze won, and some of these things. The cool thing is, I put together these packages, and if you don't want some of the things you get, you can either say like one of our guys just wants to be a channel supporter. He doesn't really want the books, so he says put him back into the mix, or you can say give them to Heroes for Heroes. So we will.
Spoiler alert, I did that with a few of my books. I said, hey, you know what? I've got too many comics. I want some of these. Some of them, let's try to get some money out of them.
So this is one of the books Bronze got. Ultimate Wolverine #1, a David Mack cover, Bryce Comics exclusive, limited to 1,500. You got number 1,106.
Lucky number 1,106.
Yeah, and then so this one was pretty hilarious because Bronze, when I showed him what he won, was watching with the sound off, and he freaked out. He didn't.
Dude, I about had a heart attack. I was like, wait a minute, is it just like a cover only or something? Like, what's going on with this thing?
So this is I think the first printing of the facsimile for Green Lantern. I think when I got it, it had like an $8 price tag on it. I think it's a higher dollar value. It's like a lot of those facsimiles, the first time they reprint them, are worth more. So so first, Hal Jordan. Which ones you were? There was like 4 books that you wanted. So one of them was, this is one of them, right?
Those 2, that one, yeah. Oddly enough, I have a bunch of those, and I don't have that one. Like I have almost all of those, except for I never had that one.
It was meant to be.
Yeah.
So that one.
I love those trading card variants.
What was the 4th one? I'm trying to figure out.
I'm a sucker for them.
Oh, it was the hardcover and
yeah, the FF.
Right, and were you putting the piece of art back into the mix?
Yeah, you know what? I guess I didn't mention that. As much as I love that art, do you have sets that you're going to be putting up for that?
Yeah. So
okay, then I'll keep that one because if it was a one-off, yeah.
Right. So this is in the spirit of the Fantastic Four movie coming out. We got a J. Michael Straczynski, Mike McCone hardcover for Fantastic Four, still in the shrink wrap. And so that's.
So I am getting new glasses in 2 weeks. I just got my appointment today and picked up my frames.
You'll actually be able to read these.
So I'm looking. That's actually why I was like, you know what? Go ahead and give me that one because I will be able to read it now.
But I mean, some of the other stuff that was in there, there were some cool variant covers. There was like a Green Lantern Corps book, Marvel's variant cover. So fun stuff that's going to get kicked over to Heroes for Heroes, and a 9.8 Superman slab that's going to get kicked over to Heroes for Heroes as well. So
yeah.
And
do you have that one handy or?
Yeah, I do. And a piece of signed a print of my artwork. So there's the 9.8 Superman.
Dawn of DC.
Yep. Nothing. I think it was just a random. I got this in a giveaway from Travis, and I was like, yeah, cool. Kick it.
Nice.
Get
And that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'll pay it forward to Heroes for Heroes and kind of solve two problems at once. Get some cool stuff I like and raise some money for charity.
There you go. There you go.
So
Right on.
you know, if you just tuned in, a few of you will say hi to you in a second in the chat. But if you just might have tuned in during the middle of that, Bigby was showing off some prizes he gave out. I actually won one of the prize packages. He's got like what? You had like 5 Key Collector channel members or something like that. 6. Okay.
There were 6 packages that went out last night. So
yeah, so good odds of winning if you get over there and become a channel member with Bigby. Helps out his channel, helps out the cause we're trying to do here a little bit by giving us funds to run the show and all that kind of stuff. And we will get back to doing giveaways and all that kind of stuff. We definitely have intended to do that. It's just been Heroes for Heroes has kind of been on the mind, and SummerCon and trying to ship stuff out and all that.
I'm also planning on doing a thing for my channel members. It's going to be, or for channel members and then non-channel members, which is going to be called 3 or Free, and it's going to be a bunch of books, and they're either going to be $3, or if you're a member, you'll get a certain number of free claims. You just have to pay shipping. So you can build a claim.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So 3 or Free.
We had Shigeyuki say, too many comics, is that possible? Well, it's all relative to your space and your collection desires. You'll kind of hear my reasoning in a second. Collector P in the house. What's up, Collector P? Got some of your stuff getting packed up. I was working on it last night, and hopefully we'll get it finished up tomorrow or the day after. It's going out to you. Actual Dracula. Yeah, I'm glad you're here, Actual Dracula. So I'm going to talk about something as soon as we're done talking about this that's going to be awesome coming up next Saturday. Actual Dracula is going to be part of. You've seen his artwork on our show in the community artwork section. I've got about 18 different artists from the community that I'm going to be talking about that you guys might want to stay tuned, because there's a big thing coming up on Saturday that we're going to talk about. Paper Chase Comics in the house. What's up, Paper Chase? Hey, Agu, how's it going, man? I had a good time. I'm sure I could speak for both of us. Had a good time catching up with you at SummerCon and speaking with you, man. That was awesome. Yeah. Well, that's kind of maybe related to part of what we're talking about. Chad, absolutely. And then
it's Christina.
So I guess I'll just use this chance to say that. So I'm seeing it tomorrow with my family, and I know Bigby saw it the other day with Comics Limited, right?
Yeah, and it was really good.
Yeah, so I can't offer my thoughts yet on it, but I know he says it's really good. Our producer Jay is a Superman fan. He loved it. So definitely high recommendations there, but I can't speak on it just yet. I just got to see it tomorrow.
I'll say something that's like non-spoiler is I think the problem with a lot of DC movies is that they've tried to steer away from the weirdness that is the DCU and try to be more more mainstream like other comic movies.
Yeah.
And like this movie embraced the weirdness of the DCU, like the Silver, like how the Silver Age kind of was, a lot of just, it was great. I loved it.
That's good. Speaking of great, we got Christina Payne in the house. What is up, Christina?
She is great.
Thanks for being here. Wow, we got some new faces in here too. Metal Elf, or at least some faces we don't often see. Metal Elf Collectibles, welcome to the show.
Hey,
that's awesome.
This is dinner tonight, folks, by the way.
Yeah, I feel sorry for Bigby. He had a hell of a long day at his day job.
14 hours, and I think I ate a protein bar and an energy drink and some bottled waters.
Not good. Hopefully we'll have somewhat of a shorter show tonight. Probably not way shorter, but somewhat of a shorter show.
I'm here for the long haul.
I know you are, but
I've got plenty of calories to burn.
Hey, unknown 869. What's up? Hey, we got Steve Driscoll, another person we should talk about in our community art section. Although I don't, probably because Big B's day was so crazy, I don't have a lot of art that he would have collected.
I'm sorry, guys. Anybody who sent art to me, Steve's had some really great stuff. Steve, your stuff is really improving. I love it. So I'll get you some cool stuff to show for him next week.
Absolutely. And I've got a couple pieces that people sent me, so I'll definitely show those off at the end of the show. We'd love to share for our community artwork. And speaking of community artwork, let's get into this real fast.
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that, as Good Mythical Morning would say. So this is oh my gosh, you guys can see that I'm one of the elite. I'm a premium YouTube member. I'm sorry to rub that in everybody's faces. I hate watching ads. This is my YouTube channel. Again, we stream on a few different channels. You might be watching on a different channel. So here's our show. It's live right now. We'll click on that and get some extra audio going here. But this upcoming live stream right here is Saturday, 7/26. That's this coming Saturday. It's at 2 p.m. Pacific or 5 p.m. Eastern to make it easy for people. And we definitely would love to see you go bookmark that show and be there for the show. If you can just watch the show, that'd be awesome. What is going on during that show? Well, we are going to do one of our fundraisers for Heroes for Heroes. We did this last year as well. We hosted this on the John's Comics with Kids channel. Big B organized the event. I just pasted that link into most of the chats. It didn't show up on Twitch. Sorry, but if you're watching on Twitch, head to one of our other streams and you can go get that link. But yeah, this Saturday we have 18 community artists who are going to be either live drawing on the show, or they're going to be donating pieces ahead of time that we'll have images of, and then we'll auction off during the show. Some of the artists that you're familiar with from our community art specials, some people that were contributors to Heroes for Heroes last year, Scott Hasselwood, Erwin Papa, Actual Dracula, Dominic Gomez, Geek Out with Roscoe, Izzyverse, NYC, CJ Design, Nerdy Musings, Philtastic Art and Comics, Dan Kelly, Elliot Wright, who you may know as Lost Boy Comics over on Instagram, Ben Taz, who did the Mission 22 prints that are highly in demand that we will have more of up for auction at one of our next events as well. Rad Art and Comics, Comics Limited, SideQuest Comics, Rich Stankey, who's had a lot of great art here on the community art segment as well. A lot of these people
of those people are community art people.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's so great to see the turnout from them. And then of course you'll have these two knuckleheads here. I'm used to be on the other side. They'll be in as well, and we will not sell any poops, but I can't promise we won't sell bath water.
I might, if somebody asked me to draw one, I might draw one.
A bath water or
a poop.
Ooh, Sydney Sweeney in the bath. There you go. There's your first commission request from Richard.
Like that Danger Girl pose, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of. We just talked about J. Scott Campbell last week. So that's this coming Saturday. So definitely come hang out for that. Just to kind of give everybody the updates, I'll go through this as quick as I can. We're still at that 42.62 like we were after we collected all the funds from our last auction. So this is an ongoing 2025 campaign. We do hope to raise, a lot more money on Saturday. If you have art or comics that you want to donate to us, please reach out because we will have another event coming up later in the year. I think it's a great cause. I think it's, let's support our veterans. If you don't know what this cause is about, it's about helping veterans with their mental health and their immediate families as they deal with things like PTSD or adjusting to life after the service. And YouTube doesn't like people using certain terms now, so I have to kind of avoid saying, what their mission statement's actually all about, which is kind of sad in a way, because it's a sad topic, and I'd love to be able to talk about it frankly. But
preventing
I have to use
self-harm, right?
Yes, exactly. Preventing self-harm is a great way to phrase that. So, and speaking of veterans, old friend of mine, Starset Comics and Cards. I think he's like Starset's Cards now. Sorry about that, Starset. He's going to watch on the replay, but wanted to say hi. He picked up a Marvel Spotlight 5 and Nova 1, building the Bronze Age collection. So Starset's a veteran himself, and somebody who's been a great friend and supporter over the years. Go follow his channel. Are you still doing card breaks, Starset? If you're still around, I'd love to hear from you sometime soon. We need to catch up. I was just thinking about you yesterday, actually. Who is Sydney Sweeney? This is a great question, Chris. Sydney Sweeney is somebody that we do like to talk about from time to time on this show. If you're not familiar with why we started talking about Sydney Sweeney, it's because we discovered that she is basically the perfect casting for everybody. It doesn't matter who. Dr. Doom, Black Cat, Power Girl, Iron Man, 2020. It doesn't matter who it is. You can just basically put anybody in there.
Uncanny.
Yeah, and we all love Sydney Sweeney.
show.
Boy, don't they. Even Ana de Armas agrees. Those boobs got their own show. I was working on the second version of that video. I didn't get it done in time, but I promise it. By probably about the time you'll see me on the next On This stream, which will probably be a couple of weeks from now, by the way, I will have that ready to go. I'm not going to be around next week or probably the week after because of Fantastic Four. Got to go see that next Monday night. It's my one chance to go see it with my family. And then my daughter's having surgery, which is part of the reason why we have to watch it that night after that. And so we're probably going to not stream that following week as well. However, Big B may be around doing a stream, so stay tuned for watching, for details for that stream.
We'll hold down the fort.
Yeah.
We'll get you some views on your channel there, Bronze.
Okay, so are doing a Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes star set. But yeah, definitely go follow his channel for anything he's gonna have coming up. She was in a movie with, I think it was Ana de Armas. Is it Anna or Anna? I think it's Ana de Armas. Ana de Armas and Keanu Reeves, I think. Yeah, Eden. There we go. Jay coming in with the answer there.
Just in like a drama movie with who was that?
With an established actress, right? Like
Yeah.
a veteran actress. Yeah. I think I saw the trailer for that. I think I know what you're talking about. And she's in that movie, American.
Where she's gonna be. She says she's a singer, country singer.
Yes, I can't remember what the rest of the title's called, but man, that looks awesome. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
Unapologetically a Sydney Sweeney fan for some of the stuff she's done recently.
Yeah, sure.
I love that Anyone But You movie she was in. That was great with Glenn Powell. So yeah, I won't be around for a couple weeks, but Heroes for Heroes live art stream. We'd love to see you there. If you happen to be watching this and you are an artist and you wanted to be part of that, let us know. We still can fit a couple people in. We have somebody who's like in the UK. We have somebody who's kind of a 9-to-5er on the East Coast. They're going to drop out relatively early so we can bring people in. We'd love to see you. We'll probably go for
doing another one also. So
yes,
if you
absolutely
can't make this one, let us know if you're interested in doing another upcoming one. So
absolutely. Yeah, I loved Shiguki's comments. Hard not to get up and dance to that montage. I agree. Scorsese has nothing on this video. Yeah. And by the way, shout out to Eggplant Comics for being here. But yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's weird, man. I hate using those terms. No, we did talk about
it. And it's an important thing. So I mean,
yeah. And it's funny because ironic. I interviewed somebody from Mission 22, which is a video that I need to make a short of that or something to kind of re-up it in the algorithm or whatever. But it's a great interview, and we talk about the nitty-gritty and the serious work they do and stuff like that. That's with Carly Hill from Mission 22. If you search on my channel, that'll come up. It's a great half-hour long interview where we took some questions from the live chat and everything too about it. So if you're curious about what they do, they're one of the most well-respected veterans organizations out there.
Yeah, maybe make some shorts with that link as the related video for the full video.
Yeah, I've got so much like that I need to do. I still need to put out the videos from SummerCon once I've kind of fixed the audio a little bit, but I've been working on packing, and that's the other thing I wanted to say real fast. If you bought something from the auction, almost all of you that wanted your stuff shipped out right away, or we could ship out your stuff right away, have been contacted and either have part of your shipments on the way or they're all out on the way. Sorry about some of the delay on the print and oversized stuff. I needed to wait on some bags to come from Amazon that would contain the larger prints and everything so they wouldn't get damaged during shipment, that wouldn't fit in the top loaders donated by Comics down there in Vancouver, Washington. And also a couple boxes for a couple of strange shaped items. But those things are starting to roll out now. If you haven't heard from me, you will by the end of the week with your shipping total, and looking forward to get all those packages out for people. Or you requested a commission and we don't know what characters you're going to draw yet, which if that's you, I won't call you out by name. But if that's you, let us know.
Otherwise, that paid a very decent amount of money for a commission. Yeah. I don't know which two characters they want me to draw.
Yeah, luckily, so Big B and Comics Limited are teaming up for a couple pieces, and Big B's doing the pencils. And can you tell us the other one? Because I'd love to. That's still only 35 cents.
The request was for Marvel Monsters, and he said he'd leave it up to me. He just gave me a list of his favorites. So it was like Frankenstein and Dracula and Werewolf by Night and Ghost Rider and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. So I'm supposed to draw 2 characters. There might be more than 2 characters. I don't know.
I love it. If you guys never saw Big B's piece where he did the X-23 Wolverine versus Man-Thing, highly recommend checking that out. He did that last year for Heroes
Man-Thing one is the one I did for Mon Comics. It's Predator versus Man-Thing. That one's pretty
good. That's good too. At least the X-23 one's also a booty image too, so it's got something for me in there.
She is wearing pants.
I can pretend I'm Man-Thing pretty easily. It's all
there we go.
Well, so you didn't have to spoil it by saying she's wearing pants.
Okay, it's up to the imagination.
Yeah. I've never gone to Boise for the Comic Cons. I have been to Boise for professional reasons back when I used to have a real full job. But yeah. I lived in Idaho for a while, but Idaho's much bigger than a lot of people realize. I lived on like basically the other side of Idaho from Boise. But yeah.
So you have other, besides the ones you won from me, you had some other pickups this week?
Yeah, and I'll show those real fast. So this is kind of a fun segue into our topic, I think.
I'm going to try to, while you're doing that, I'm going to try to limit down what I got.
Perfect. So Big B turned me on to a Whatnot stream where they were giving away a giant size X-Men #1 if you bought something. And so I bought a cheap-ish, considering he had hundreds of people watching, a cheap-ish Amazing Spider-Man. It was actually this Amazing Spider-Man 242, just because I like to get kind of the before 300, before the Todd McFarlane run, that run and before stuff, whenever I can at a good price. But he threw in an ASM 165, which is really cool.
That's a great.
And then he also threw in like a newsstand West Coast Avengers #1 in good shape.
Wow.
A Claremont and Byrne era. You got Uncanny X-Men 146 there. Threw that in.
That's slightly outside of the Byrne.
Oh yeah, I know, but it's the. I meant to say Claremont era, and I totally walked over my words because there is some Byrne news we have coming up tonight.
Is there? I'm excited to hear it.
This was a giveaway that I won on the same show. I didn't even realize I won it till the show was over, and I saw the receipt for it or whatever, because you still get a receipt even if you win a giveaway. But then I was watching the stream, so I bought 2 books. One was that first ASM I showed, and the second one is a book I've been looking for, just kind of at the right price, a copy that spoke to me for about a year and a half, 2 years now, which is I wanted to get a copy of Iron Man 128. And so I got a pretty decent looking copy of Iron Man 128 there, the Demon in the Bottle. Kind of, it's not the first issue of that series, but it's kind of the marquee cover in that run. And I have a very, I don't know, degenerate goal, I guess, but it actually isn't mean on my part. I really want to get Robert Downey Jr. to sign that someday, just because of his story and his history. I know he's at least signed 1. I don't know if he's signed more than 1, but there's a CGC witnessed copy out there that he signed that I've seen, and I'd be really curious to have him sign that someday. I don't know if I felt weird asking him until I found out he actually did sign one. So I don't know. I think it'd be cool because of his story and literally, I feel like Iron Man was his redemption arc,
right,
as a person. Yeah, I don't know. I feel weird saying that, but to me that is kind of true, Agu. I don't know. It's weird. Yeah, I'm sure he would charge a boatload for it, but hey, at least I got a copy now to get that process started. All right, so you had some pickups you were going to show off?
Yeah, I'm trying to limit it down. There's so many freaking cool things. All right, so some stuff.
You saw what I showed.
Some stuff I got from Son of Crom from his free giveaway show that he has. I got the DNA.
Nakayama?
Yeah, Nakayama. Yeah. Some J. Scott Campbell books.
Right on. Yeah, his Zenoscope stuff I need to learn more about because I have a few random ones. But...
And then this cool Black Cat. I know Christina likes her Black Cat. So
yeah. Who was
So
that? J. Scott Campbell on the Black Cat, or who was that?
No, that was just a limited edition variant Black Cat, but it was cool.
Okay.
And then so I bought a bunch of stuff from Travis Comics Limited on one of his Whatnot shows. If you guys don't watch those, you guys should, because he has great stuff. So this is one of the books that I bought. I mean, I love my Jenny Frison stuff, but and then
Frison's awesome.
He threw in, I think he was just being really nice because we're friends. This is too nice. He gave me the foil.
Oh yeah.
Of that.
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
And
those were not cheap. I bought one of those. Oh, dude, that's yeah. I need to get a copy of that.
So I'll show one more for Christina because she likes Invisible. So
yeah,
so there was that. And then went and hung out with him the last night when we did the giveaway show from his place. And he had gotten in on some crazy flash sale that they had on Midtown Comics. It was like buy one get 9 free or something.
Jeez.
And so I picked up a big stack of this is like, I think I picked up like almost 30 books, but here's that one.
Yep, that's one I've been looking for too. Nice. I have that other one you showed, but that one's on the list for sure.
Yeah.
Baroness. She's the best. Rogue, even better. I'm wearing a Rogue shirt. Ah.
Yeah. I got a whole bunch of Rogue, and then you're her boy.
Yep.
Cool Megatron variant there, and Devastator. Yeah. And then some J. Scott Campbell goodness there. And I just thought this one was really cool. But
that is neat.
And then
yeah.
I saw this on. I put this in one of my videos, but I was like, oh yeah, I'll probably never get that variant. And he's like, here you go. So there's.
Is that Torini? I want to say it's Marco Torini, but maybe I'm wrong.
And then so there you go. I mean, there's a ton of variants. So, and we'll talk about getting rid of books because, like, I was having a hard time paring down what I wanted out of what he got. I was like, I want it all.
I think that's perfect segue to our topic, folks. So what's our main topic tonight? Well, look, I don't have this like perfectly outlined. This is a very clear thought in my head, but I'm gonna see if I can put it into words. For a long time now, I have had this vision of what I want my comic book collection to look like. And I'll give you a hint. These boxes aren't part of it. And for those that might be wondering, is that all your? No, I wish. Then it would be a much different story. No, I've got just boxes coming out the wazoo over here. And it's time to get rid of quite a bit of them. And I've tried a few times in different ways, and I've definitely sold some stuff where it's like, okay, this is a double, and Bigby and I have done claim sales, and I've done little Whatnot shows here and there. I used to do shows on Drip. I used to do YouTube auctions. I've donated some of it to Heroes for Heroes and other causes. But man, I still need to get rid of a lot more. And it's not that I don't love those books. I actually posted a meme about that earlier today. It's not that I don't love those books. It's just that, man, I don't want to have this many comic book boxes lying around. That's really what it comes down to. There's just too many of them. There's too many damn comics in this house. And so, some of it's laziness, or to put it more accurately, other things are the priority, and I need to focus on those things.
Right.
Some of it's
triage.
Yeah. Some of it's that it's, the selling stuff is hard work. You got to give it up for people that sell things on the regular. Here's that meme I made earlier, by the way, just for everybody's viewing enjoyment while I talk about this. It's you got to do a lot. If you're listing on eBay, it's a lot of taking photos and getting the books listed and replying to jerks that offer you 10% of what something's worth just to see if it happens. And where you send stuff out and then you have to follow up because they get lost in the mail or damaged. That doesn't always happen, but I mean that's all part of it, right? So there's a lot of work involved there. Claim sales, it's like, hey, I've had a bunch of claim sales where it's like you put up the books and yeah, sure, you sell maybe half of what you're trying to put out there, and then the other half doesn't sell. You could say that's on me, and I'm not pricing the books low enough. That's totally fair. But the point is, I've gone to comic swaps and tried to sell books, and I sold a few big books, but I didn't sell a lot of bulk like I was trying to. And I've learned things from all those, and we'll talk about that stuff too. That's part of this. Right. But it's just wanting to get rid of some of these comic books, because at the end of the day, if I've read the book and I've enjoyed having the book, I'm probably done with it. Unless it's one of those things where it's like some really special, meaningful book, or it's like an older key that I like collecting and having in my personal collection. But all the stuff that I collected and was on the pull list, pretty much all that I want gone. And every cool cover that I've ever bought, I'd say about 80% of those can go. So that's just kind of the outset of what my issue is. And then we'll kind of break down a little bit of like my thought process on why I'm stuck where I'm stuck. That's my take on it. In chat, feel free to chime in. Big B, do you have similar thoughts on this, or do you have different thoughts on this, or how do you feel about this?
I have like similar thoughts on that, and like I come at it from like kind of a different angle. Like I've always been kind of a hustler as far as like trying to sell and move things and make money off it. But with back when I was younger, I had more free time, or when I had two comic shops or whatever, I was able to move whatever I needed to move. And now it makes it it's a lot harder to move things. I recently saw a video of a clothing reseller, and he's talking about, he goes, do you guys know what a death pile is? And the guy who was interviewing him was like, no. And he's like, he pans the camera over and he's like, there's just this pile of all these great items. And he's like, it's so much more fun to go out and search for the things and find the cool things that you're going to flip and make so much money on. It's the hard work is selling them and doing that actual flip. And eventually you'll have a death pile, which is either going to kill your funds that are available to buy more things, or it's going to be stuff that you will still have laying around when you finally move off this mortal coil. It's still going to be around, and it's never going to have been sold, and it's going to be a death pile.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Just debut this other one while we're talking.
Blasphemy.
This was kind of the flip side one of that I made. Because I understand there's a lot of people that are watching this that almost like their goal is to either chase what you're talking about or to collect as many comics as they can.
Yeah.
So
So I'm in the boat of like, I've been picking up a lot of books that I think, hey, that whenever I see a good deal, I want to grab it. And then also there's books that I'm building my collection. But I've had the situation where I'm trying to find things now because I need to get really organized. You've been over and seen the chaos that is my collection. And so like case in point, Eddie Von B's books, which they went out. But I had set them aside for Eddie. And Eddie does not access his Instagram very often, and he kept forgetting to check. And then finally Eddie was like, hey, I saw that on Instagram. I sent you the money. And I was like, where did I put those books?
They were safe.
They were safe. They were perfectly in their Mylars in a nice box on the bottom of a stack somewhere.
Oh, whoa, Chris. Hey, look, we understand you're a big shot YouTuber. You can come in here with your professional money and brag about your comic book collection. But here's the funny thing. I say that purely as a joke. And I know this isn't the case with Chris because we've talked about this before. But then again, he could have 100 comics that would be worth 10 times what my way more than 10 times his amount of comics is worth, if that makes sense.
Quality over quantity.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's a huge motivator for me. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's funny. Like Bigby, he kind of overstates it a little bit, like his organizational system. Because I know there's everything is organized, but it's not necessarily collated. Like it's all in they're all, all the comics are safe and they're all in boxes and all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah, and
as
for the
far as
most part,
that
like
goes.
when I start sorting things, like I'll go through each box and I'll alphabetize each box and then start to try to take. So like you go through the box, it's like, oh, it's A through whatever, but it's like,
Yeah.
you know, where are
Whereas me,
all
I
my
guess
books?
to contrast, like my stuff is all in alphabetical order, with like about a box worst exception that needs to be, put in to the alphabetical order, sorted in or whatever. But it's in one, two, three, four, five, six different spots across my house. Like, oh, you want A through H? That's easy. You want G through I? Ugh, that's a little harder because that's in this closet. It's bad.
Right.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'm so sorry if I kind of cut you off there a little bit, but
No,
we've talked about this before. You'd like to sell a bunch of stuff that you have, right? Like you'd like to,
absolutely. And that's the
yeah,
goal. I mean, I actually made an Instagram channel on that Bigby's books with the goal of starting to list books that were either for sale or trade, but I've yet to put a book on there.
Richard, you're a madman. That's all I can say. That's kind of cool though. Like I have a feeling you're joking, but at the same time, that'd be kind of neat to see.
Right. The rainbow.
Lighting my cash on fire. That's more efficient.
Mhm.
Um, uh, so I know for me some of the reasons why I don't sell as much as I want to. What are your reasons?
Oh gosh.
Now you keep in mind, he's saying he just worked a 14-hour day and he's running into the show and like hasn't had dinner. Right. So I mean that's a factor.
That time is a factor. If I'm being brutally honest, we've talked about what's the it's not imposter syndrome kind of thing, but it's like that I'm afraid to disappoint people.
Oh, rejection sensitivity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm afraid to disappoint people, and so like a lot of times I'm like, what if they don't agree with my grading, or and so I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I don't know if I really want to, and so I don't. I'm afraid to disappoint people, so I disappoint people by not doing what I should be doing. So yeah,
That's
and so
interesting.
that mental hurdle causes me not to want to ship things out and that kind of stuff too. So yeah, but that's one of the reasons. I mean, other
But
reasons are, yeah,
so I
like
think that's funny
time.
though. That's funny because it's funny because you mentioned imposter syndrome. And I know you were looking for the different term, rejection sensitivity, which is something I
Yeah,
kind of talked about because I learned about it. And it's something I
right.
definitely have. Social media and content creation and just in life. But you ran comic stores for a long time.
Yeah,
You
I don't know
you
where my hang
grade
up.
really well.
I don't know where my hang up came came from.
Okay.
It's just, but dealing with somebody in person is different. Where I
Yeah.
can say, "Here's the book. I think this is a 7.5," and you can look at it and I go, "What do you think?" But if I say this is a 7.5 and you are looking at it on a computer screen and then you get it and you go, "This is like a 5.0. What are you talking about?" So
It I wonder if this is true for you because part of it's true for me, I think. Do you do you feel like being on YouTube and being out in the comic space, like does that make you worry about that more? Because you're like, oh, what if they think I'm trying to rip them off or something like that? Like,
I'm not worried about my broad reputation. I'm worried about my one-on-one relationships with people.
yeah, that makes sense.
So
I just for me that's part of it, I think, because it's like I that's why I try to very carefully under promise and over deliver whenever I can, because I don't want
Right,
somebody thinking that I hate to say it, there's people that are in the space that we're in, only at bigger levels, really, to be honest, that have, uh, from what I've seen, kind of taken advantage of that position a little bit, and I would prefer not to be one of those people and
Well, like
be seen as one of those people.
here's an example. I sold a oh gosh, which is Fantastic Four. It's the first time the thing says Clobber in time. Second appearance of the Mole Man.
Yeah.
It was signed by Stan Lee. I sold it to Mon Comics. And I said, I think it's a 4/5. And it's signed by Stan. I got a COA from the shop that I got it from. Yada yada yada. And then he's like, I'm gonna submit it to CGC. And I was like, and it came back a 4/5. And the CO and the Stanley autographs. So all of those autographs came from the same signing. So I'm really happy because the Stanley autograph came back authentic. So FF22. That's right. Richard got it.
Did you personally get them signed?
No, it was a shop in Battleground that's no longer there.
Right. I know what you're talking about. Okay.
But, they got them from another shop that used to be in Battleground, their owners, who had Stan out for a signing when he was in town for something else in like 1993. So,
yeah, buyers can rip off sellers too. Yep, and sellers can rip off buyers. Absolutely, it's a two-way street. And I hate to say that the entire community is like that or anything like that. Like that, I believe it's exactly the opposite. I think the vast majority of the community, especially in Instagram and that kind of stuff, the communities that form there in social media tend to be really good. I've had a lot of great experiences with sellers, like on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. But I don't, one bad apple can really spread a lot of harm. And there's more than one bad apple.
And I don't want to be perceived as that bad apple. That's the thing. I want to be a positive influence.
Ooh, Big B, how do you live up to that? 4.9999999.
Oh man, I'm so sorry, Richard.
How much is Stanley's finger worth?
Which one is it, the middle one?
I like it. Mark says he refuses to sell books under 10 value. $10. Okay. Because you're just losing money at the time of packing supplies, gas time.
That's fair enough. I mean,
I can respect that.
There's a market for that though. And if you are willing to put in the work, you can make some money on that kind of stuff. So
see, what I need to do, I feel like a lot of it is I need to sell some bundles and some runs and some these are all covers by so and so, or these are all Batman various books, maybe for some of that stuff that I know I don't want to spend the time parting it out, but I could get rid of some stuff that way.
We should float that idea out there. We have talked about making like a Big B and bronze bundles. Would you guys be interested in that idea?
I dare say they're a mystery box, but they're a mystery box where it's part of what we sell would go to Heroes for Heroes. So you got to keep that in mind. It's partially that. And it would be stuff that came from both of our collections. So it's stuff that we don't have a lot of junk.
I mean, on my side, you could tell me like, I want sci-fi, I want whatever, and I can customize it because I buy those bulk lots where I can build whatever you're into.
Well, it's something we might put together a trial run of, and we could bring part of them here maybe. And I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the show, we stream on the EXP as well. Not all of the shows on the EXP, but a lot of the shows on there are sales shows. So some of the reviewers might be interested in stuff like that too. So it's something we might want to talk about.
We talked about doing more. I think that was kind of a goal for both of us was to do more claim sales. So I don't think, have we done one this year?
No, not counting Heroes for Heroes. No.
Yeah. Okay. Was that when was that one where I couldn't make it? It was late at night. That was last year still?
That might have been early this year, I guess, but I couldn't tell you one or the other. Time is a amorphous blob.
Amorphous blob.
Much like me, time is an amorphous blob.
Ah,
But well, I guess, here's one thing we can tease a little bit along those lines. It's not just ways for us to get us to sell our comics. We want to explore some of the deeper issues here too. But we will be at Frankenstein Comic Swap
that's right.
in October, which is kind of the marquee month for Frankenstein Comic Swap, because Frankenstein, October, Halloween, come on, the story writes itself.
Right.
They also take place in March as well. But that takes place in Portland, Oregon at the Lloyd Center Mall. It's a 2-story, like it's an old H&M or whatever kind of store that was. I don't know. Forever 21, something like that. And
Right.
Just hundreds of comic book tables. And we're going to be there with Dan's X-Men Comics and QWERTY Comics, like the keyboard QWERTY, which I was there with both those guys last time in March. They had awesome stuff. Dan's bringing like Mark Jeweler X-Men variants and double covers and all kinds of crazy stuff. And then QWERTY's got like a lot of X-Men stuff too, but a lot of other stuff too. Dan's great. Sean, aka QWERTY's really great too. But we're splitting a few tables.
There's going to be a guest from the other side of the states too there.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Can we say that though?
I don't know. Can we?
I don't want to blow up his spot.
We'll just kind of like we'll just kind of tease that.
A very popular comic book YouTuber who was at Frankenstein last year
probably going to be
returning, or not last. Earlier this year is going to return later this year.
He may or may not bought a big Fantastic Four book from me.
yeah, and he may or may not have picked up a ton of great Invincible and Last of Us stuff. So
yeah, right. He's such a cool guy. I love him.
Yeah. Well, we like those least coast YouTube. No, I'm just kidding. I'm saying that purely as a joke. In no way, when we say Best Coast Comics, I never, ever, ever meant it that way. I meant it more ironically.
All the way around. It goes all the way around.
It goes all the way around. I meant it ironically more as in like, we're so late at night, we're just going to be the best, damn it. Because no one on the East Coast can watch. It makes no sense.
It's on the rewind. That's when they watch them.
Oh, that's too bad. I'd love to see you come down for that one at some point, Chris.
I think you'd really enjoy it, Chris. It's really a fun dig. I mean,
it's like if you went to Rose City Comic-Con, which I know you went to, Chris, and every booth except for like 2 were comic books. There's not really.
There's some artists and stuff.
Yeah, but it's a little light on art. I mean, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it's aspiring artists and stuff. But yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, well, West Coast, Best Coast. We all know it's true. But yeah, so that's one way we're gonna try to sell some books for sure. I'm definitely gonna try to cater to what I have learned that audience is about, which is a lot of cheap books that are priced accordingly, and some great digging for people.
I think I think we should kind of try to do something that's like a part of our show to maybe keep us accountable. Like try to have a goal of like listing 1 or 2 books a week on Instagram or something, and be like, hey, what books did you list this week? And we can go like, oh, I listed this and this. Maybe. Just spitball.
See, the hard part, Chris, is not counting the Frankensteins. There's only one of those. It's counting all the Frankenstein's monsters. Because you see, Frankenstein's monster was the creature and Frankenstein was the doctor. Sorry, had to do that.
So what? So we've talked a little bit about what holds me back. I mean, get time and just lack of energy sometimes. So health issues, like, I mean, there's a lot of, I'm getting up there. I don't want to admit it, but I'm getting up there in age, and my back and my, I'm like, oh God, I don't want to go down there and dig and climb around. But so what about you?
So for me, it's some of it's attachment, and some of it's like so I'll make this as brief as I can, but it's a little bit of backstory. I sold a huge part of my collection right after my daughter was born. She's 6 now, so that kind of gives you a timetable. And then a couple of years later, we moved out of a tiny little part of it was we were moving into a tiny little apartment after she was born to save some money and kind of streamline what we had to, focus on. And so I didn't have space for comics. So I sold all but like 4 short boxes of comics, which is insane if you think about how many comic books I have now. I bought, 2 collections in that time too, so that's part of it. But I bought a lot of stuff during the pandemic and cover buys and sweet variant covers and oh, this character is going to be hot spec stuff. I fell into all that just like a lot of people did. I mean, I can tell you from doing the top 5 not to buy series, which was partially fueled by that very idea of like, whoa, slow down. Hold your horses. You don't have to go buy every book that pops up on Key Collectors Trending 20 or Hot 10 or whatever.
Right.
And a lot of viewers reached out to me and had the same issues. And part of, again, I'll try to make this short as possible, but part of collecting for a lot of people, including me, is mental health related, and it's soothing, it's calming, it's distracting, it's nostalgic. I love comic books. It takes me back and kicking back and reading comic books. But I noticed, okay, because of the eyesight, which I'm getting new glasses and hopefully this kind of resolves this problem. But I still like to read digitally, even with glasses. I'll still like to read digitally. I'm very farsighted, so I can't read print. Is part of the problem. That's what I'm saying. But I noticed, like, I'm reading the comic books digitally. Why am I buying physically? Part of that is to support creators and artists that I like, and that's still true, and I still want to do that. But part of it was like speculation, and part of it was just this dumb attachment to cool art on covers, which I've learned recently and kind of been more faithful to. I can look at that picture whenever I want. It's not like that picture doesn't exist on the internet somewhere. I save photos of comic book covers that I like, and I can look at them anytime I want. And the fun trick is that sometimes you look at those things 1,000 times, and you're like, yeah, it's a great cover. And sometimes that makes you go, you know what? I'd like to own that. I'd like to own that cover. And sometimes it makes you go, I'm glad I didn't waste money buying that, because I can look at the great art whenever I want. And it's great art, but it's not the top 1% of art or whatever metric is in my head that I think about when I think of truly fantastic like covers. Like for me, I've told Brian this before, one of my grails is Silver Surfer 4, the classic Buscema cover, Thor and Silver Surfer. That's one of my grails because that cover to me is absolutely iconic. Yeah, I can look at the art online, but it's one of those ones I've looked at enough where it's like, God, I really want to own that. I really want to have that piece of comic book history in my collection. It's a fine line because I can make that distinction, but I also know some people out there can't. And they're like, what? I don't, it's Venom 37. I don't care. It's still a great cover. There might have been 100,000 printed and you can go buy them for $1 now. But man, when it was coming out, it was a $30 1 in 25 ratio. I had to pay full price for it or double ratio for it. And there's people out like that too. I totally understand that. But
people who are run collectors and everything, and they want to have the entire run of a book, or they want to have everything by a certain artist. There's nothing.
Sure,
there's not a wrong way to collect.
Oh no, not at all. But for me personally, and only personally, I've learned that's the wrong way to collect. For me, and I'll do one better. I've learned for a lot of people it's the wrong way to collect, and I'll never tell anybody how they should or shouldn't collect. But I will tell you that offering up my story or explaining like, hey, maybe this is a fun thought experiment that people can play. I've made videos like that in the past, and I've talked about it in person with people, and there's people out there that really do kind of go, yeah, I don't love moving around 100 comic book boxes every time I have to move, or whatever it might be, right? And that's true for a lot of people where they collect, and then they don't ever purge, or like maybe you mentioned earlier, maybe they pass away and their family has to deal with it. And sometimes that's just life, and I get that, but also sometimes I hope people would ask themselves the question of, what do I really want to like pass on? What do I really want to have be my forever collection? Stuff like that is fun to ask yourself. That's all I'll say. And I ask
Right.
myself that a lot. And that's why I come to these conclusions where it's like, God, I really don't need that Venom 37, 1 in 25 or whatever, no matter how cool it is. I don't need it. And I have to kind of come to grips with that. But here's the problem, to answer your question. I'll finally get to the answer to your question. I then pick up that 37, 1 in 25. What I'm really thinking of is there's a Venom Nakayama cover where he's at a restaurant. I think maybe it was like Venom 1 from when it relaunched. And he's got a cartoon bubble brain above him when he's getting ready to eat it. He's got like the bib on or whatever. He's getting ready to like, dive in with a knife and fork. And like, that's cool art. Do I really need to own that forever though?
I'll tell you, like so right now I have a guy who has he's a little Funko Pop store that he sells some comics in, and he's been buying bulk lots from me. And I get these bulk lots from other places, and then he's paying me like $1 a book or whatever, right? And then he's going to sell them for $3. But then he's asking me for specific titles. Like, I want X-Men, I want Spider-Man, I want blah, blah. And so I'm putting these together, and then I start looking at the books and I go, these are worth way more than $1. And I start arguing with myself in my head, and like, do I really want to let these go for $1? Like, and then I have to slap myself like, dude, you have a buyer right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Shigeyuki, I just want to address that real fast. It will come back at some point. I just can't promise it'll be weekly. I tried again to do it weekly, and I'd like to get to that point, but it's more of a goal. I'm just going to make it whenever I have time and can make it. It is definitely not over. It's coming back at some point. It has a couple times, but I'm thank you. That's very kind of you. Nostalgic Pod Blast is talking a little bit about predictions for the new FF film. Looks like Herbie Heavy. Wait, might be Herbie Heavy, which could be problematic. We shall soon see. Mixed early fan reviews so far.
I'm gonna wait and see.
Yeah, I always wait and see with those. But I will say, I was emboldened by seeing some reviews that called it the best Marvel movie ever. I don't want to go in with too high expectations, just like I don't want to go in with low expectations. But yeah, I have heard it's kind of Herbie heavy. I actually picked up the first appearance of Herbie from a Space Cadet sale on the EXP with Jen, because it's also the first Byrne artwork on Fantastic Four. So yeah, I figured I may as well grab a copy of that. That's staying in the collection, but yeah, I have a feeling that if like say Herbie's popular, is that actress from Russian Doll? Is she playing Herbie? Is that what I heard? Can't remember. She's like that redheaded actress. Was she in American Pie?
She's got that cigarette smoking voice.
Yeah, she's got kind of like a New York kind of thing, like New York energy too when she talks. Yeah. I thought maybe she's playing Herbie. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it does well. I mean, I'm excited for it.
Right.
Lethal Protector. Yeah, it was Lethal Protector 1 from one of those years. Yeah, there you go, Jay. Hey, nice. What are you drawing, Steve? I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah.
ROI is probably the main reason people don't sell. So that's yes, Natasha Leone. Thank you very much, Jay. That's probably
a good reason.
It's a good talking point.
We've talked about that before. My whole thing about the money you're going to make on something is made when you buy it. So I'm always trying to plan for the future. If I'm going to buy this book, I want to make sure I've got wiggle room to get out from under this book and still make a profit, So I'm always looking for those deals that, I can't resist. It's like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's a dumb deal not to buy,
Right. But you've had, and I have applauded you for this before. You've had a lot of success turning those purchases into, oh, I'll trade you these for, these 10 books for this one book, or these 20 books for these 2 books, or whatever it is, right?
Right.
And so you've kind of played that to your advantage too, because, or you've been able to pick up a book and then pay for it by selling off lots of those kinds of books to other collectors, because like, oh, well, I just spent this money on this book and now I need to make up for it with, this stuff. You've been really good at that. And I applaud you for that. I actually, it's been inspiring to me to sell
I need
more.
I need to do more of it though. I need to be better at it.
Do as much as you do, at least. I think that comes down to it. But I do think that the point, the ROI point that Richard's bringing up here, the return on investment, is a salient one, because I, like a lot of people, I bought some of those books during a time period where people were buying a lot of those books, and some of those stories weren't exactly timeless stories that are going to be around forever. And I when I first met you and started talking about collection goals, one of the things I told you was I'm trying to make the average age of the comic book in my collection go backwards.
Right.
In other words, I'm trying to collect older paper than what I had. But to your other point about the time to save money on a comic book or make money on a comic book is at the time of purchase. I was also paying on average about 40% less than cover price for those books when they came out, because
so you
I
had
was ordering
them. Yeah.
Yeah. So luckily, not every single one, like some of these store exclusives and that kind of stuff, it's a little bit different. Some of those I got great deals on, like the Unknown and Midtown and all that kind of stuff, Golden Apple, Things from Another World. I got great deals on some of that stuff, but a lot of it, yeah, it's like you now have this sunk cost. It's a sunk cost fallacy where you've put this money into these things, and now you have to ask yourself, and this is true of retailers, it's true of all businesses really. You now have this inventory that you paid such and such price for. Is it worth holding on to that inventory? And I don't really have inventory as much as a personal collection. But when you start to feel like I need to pare this collection down, you have to start to view parts of your collection as inventory, if that makes sense.
I've sold my collection twice. I mean, once when I didn't want to, and once when I did want to. And like, there's some nice freedom in that. Like, all of a sudden, you're like, I had all these things I had to do. I needed to organize this and rebag and board that, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm free. I don't have to worry about any of that.
Now I have all this room for new comic books.
Then that thought creeps in, like 5 years later, you're like, I kind of miss my comic books, but
it's a slippery slope, where it's I do, heck, and I won't go super into detail on this, but I've talked about giving you, or selling you some stuff for a hell of a good price, or going in on you with some opportunities to move some of that stuff for both of us, hopefully.
Right.
We're both looking to do that. We both want to streamline what we have, because I don't, luckily, in Bigby's case, he has a little extra usable space compared to what I have, where it's kind of creeping into the family living areas more than I'm comfortable with. I know more than my spouse is comfortable with, more than even my daughter's starting to be comfortable with in some ways. So that needs to change, right? That's the motivating factor there. But yeah, even you with some space, I'm sure like some of that space you'd like to utilize for other things, probably, right? Like if you could. So
it'd be nice to make like part of it into like an art studio or something. Yeah. But there's that thought too. Like a lot of times, like I'm like, well, how much time do I want to spend on that versus pursuing creating my own art versus selling comic books?
Yeah. Yep, exactly. I have other aspirations as well, and I start to think about. I had here's the really fun thought experiment I had. I've told people before my goals are really to collect 3 personal grails, and I don't use that term very lightly. I have 3 grails, which, some of these are. There's a great video actually. Oh shoot, I wish I could remember what channel it's on. There's a great video where one of the Overstreet OGs was talking about how truly not rare comics are to people.
Yeah, that's on Keston's Old School Comics.
Yes, thank you. I watched a clip of, and I wish I could remember the gentleman's name, of him talking about it, and it was not news to me. I mean, it's still another expert telling you, "Hey, have a good night." It's still an expert telling you something that is true, so it kind of helps validate some thoughts I already had. But I know that Giant Size X-Men #1 is not rare. That's actually the book he was talking about. That's one of my holy grails of comic books because of what's in it.
Right.
Giant Size X-Men #1, X-Men 1, and for me, it's Hulk 181 because I already have a Hulk 180. And I was thinking,
The
what
photojournal guide to
percentage?
comics, Richard. That's what he's asking.
Okay, it's what percentage of my comic book collection would I give up for those 3 books today? I mean, obviously, condition depends, but I'm looking for low grade copies of all 3 of those because that's, to me, I'd rather get in on a low grade copy and hope to upgrade someday, right? That's just my thought process. I can't afford any of them right now. If I was going to be able to afford one of them, what would I do? I was like, what percentage of my comic book collection would I give up? And it was such a tough question because there is a level where it's like, oh, I'd give up this, no problem. I'd give up this, no problem. I'd give up this, no problem. And then you get to a point where it's like, man, the sentimentality of that book also matters. It also matters to the point where it's like, I don't necessarily want to give that up, but I want these books more. So should I give it up anyway? And it's like, should I, just add that to a list of like, now this is one of the comic books you're hunting for again, and trying to get later on. It's such an interesting question for me because, well, first of all, nobody's offering me that. So it's not like it's a real, real problem. It's just a thought experiment. But
I don't know,
yeah.
like what you're saying, Collecto 6, Stepo, he sold off almost all of his bronze and copper keys, most of his modern stuff, and went and got a Batman 1.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, right. Okay.
And now he's having fun going back and recollecting some of the bronze. But he's like, it's stuff so plentiful that it's fun that you can find it. It's fun to go find it, but you could find it much more easily than something huge like a Batman 1. So like that is, I've seen a lot of guys that I know personally. Some of the guys in the Council of X are doing where they're trying to get rid of large quantities of books to get one quality book. So I think a couple of them, they have that goal for the year. So it's kind of neat to see them working towards that.
Yeah. And it's funny how like, so it almost dovetails, and we should probably talk about that topic that was discussed on Keston's channel a little bit at some point. But it's interesting how relative it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's people in the chat, there's you, there's me, there's people we know that have a lot of funds to buy comic books.
Right.
There's this spectrum, and it's like they're going to look at a Tech 27 one way. I'm going to look at it another way. You're going to look at it another way, and we all have different views on it. And some of us don't even want it. We'd want it if somebody was going to give it to us, but maybe we wouldn't. Like for me, I have no intentions of ever owning a Tech 27. It's not that I wouldn't want to, but it's not. So for me, I'm a very nostalgic collector. I have no nostalgia around Golden Age Batman. So it's cool. I can appreciate the hell out of it, and it's also extremely valuable, and I have no need to ever try to put my money into that.
That's one of those things where you're like, I could look at a picture or a facsimile or something. Whereas to me, I really like owning those pieces of history, like
totally.
And so like if A lot of times, if something, I'm what Stephen always says that I'm a targets of opportunity person. So if something becomes available, sometimes I feel like it's kismet, and I need to do my
Yeah.
best to try to get that thing that fell into my lap or came across my radar, and I'm like, oh hey, that's attainable. It might take some finagling, and a little sacrifice, but
Yeah.
you could get that, and that's something that's going to be a crown jewel in your collection. And so, yeah, if a Tech 27 was available, I was like, and they were like, yeah, I'd trade for $1,000 books or whatever, like it'd be a lot of them, but I'd probably be like, how many $1,000 books or $500 books that I've got would I be willing to sacrifice to get that?
Yeah.
So,
So it's funny because you and I are a lot alike in a lot of ways, but we are somewhat different on this. But with that said, because you have that view on Tech 27, and I have like that I'm never going to seek it out kind of thing. But like you said, there are those situations that come up where you've been with me on a few of those where it's like that's a book that I never would have thought about buying, but it is such a great deal. And
right.
it's not just like the there's like a trope about, oh, honey, I bought $400 worth of shoes, but I only paid $100, and so it was a good investment, or it was a good good purchase or whatever. It's like, well, you bought $100 worth of shoes, so if those are the shoes you wanted, then because there's always shoe sales, or there's always sales on certain things, mattress
Yeah.
sale, right? Like there's always a mattress sale. So it's
That's
really
the
about what
thing.
you
Like
pay.
a lot of times, I'll be like, oh, I missed out on that sale, that whatnot sale that somebody was doing that I wanted to be a part of. But I'm like, I never saw those books. It's not going to hurt me. They're gonna be available again. Uh,
Yeah,
so yeah,
but
that the
at the
whole
same time,
FOMO thing, right?
yeah. Oh no, 100%. But at the same time, like if I see a book that I like the characters, or that I know on a long enough timeline will go up because it's from the Bronze Age or older, and it's established characters, and it's selling for 50% of its value, I'll probably buy it if I can afford it, because later on that's something I can sell. And the beauty, I guess the weird hidden beauty is sometimes you end up holding on to things because you didn't sell them to the point where it becomes worth a lot more.
Right. And then a lot of that is a lot of the I've been kicking myself because I've had opportunity recently on some great books that I wasn't prepared to get them. Like, if I
Mhm.
had been moving more books and had put a little more of a nest egg aside to get those, like uh our friend Dr. Plagueis had what he said, it could be, depending on how cleaning and pressing, how it all turns out, it could be anywhere between a 7.5 and a 9.0 Hulk 181 that he let go for a great deal. And I was like, damn, I wish I had the money. So
Yeah. And I guess it is that double-edged sword of like trying to balance having the capital free. And I think that's actually the crux of my issue for me, is because I'm trying to collect some bigger books than I have collected before,
right.
for the most part. And so I'm thinking, like, not only do I need the space, which is true, I also want to have some of that capital set aside so that I could act on those kind of deals if they came up.
Right.
And so it's
And
really both,
a lot of times I've got to give myself the reality check of like, I love joining in on Travis's whatnot sales, but when I'm spending $50 to $80 every couple of weeks, I could be putting that money aside and backing it up into a large amount of money to get a larger book.
That's
I
funny.
think it turned out that like they had somebody who was they had the Comic Spa look at it, and he said somewhere between a 7.5 and an 8.0 is probably realistic. The colors and the condition are great on it, but there's some limiting factors, just a small tear on the back, but it looks way beyond what it really is. So
interesting. Yeah, it's I know what Chad's saying though. Like I get it. Like if somebody gave me that range, I'd probably be thinking the same thing. Especially like this is different because it's somebody we knew. But if it was somebody like Whatnot or eBay Live, then I'd be like, okay, so what you're saying is it's a 6.5.
I love the way he phrased it. He's like, depending on who you talk to, this is either this is somewhere between 7.5 and a 9.0. He's like, but I'm pricing it at the 7.5. So
yeah. I think I was kind of curious to see what the chat was going to say. We did get some good opinions on some of the stuff in here. But I was hoping to let the chat kind of fuel some of this conversation.
Yeah, for sure. And if you guys are watching on the rewind, I'd love to hear your opinion and stuff too. Please feel free to interject. Like I love it when I see somebody talking in the comments, and it's like you can see where they were in the video when they were what they're responding to. I know exactly where they were when they said that, you know.
And 10 minutes later they leave a comment, then you're like, oh yeah, because you got to that part of the video or whatever.
Right.
It's so we'd love to hear from you because we're not afraid to revisit a topic if we have more of that coming up, you know. Chad says he had a lot of success with CGC. His biggest miss was a New Gods #1. He thought was a 9.4 to 9.6, but got a 6.0 because it has a stain, quote unquote, on the back that is minuscule and I can't see it without blacklight. Yeah, I hear you.
Those stains and foxing will get you every time.
You know, and I guess I should bring that up too, because you brought up CGC and just graded comics in general. And it's funny because I like having graded comics for certain books, like established keys that I'm collecting for only collecting purposes, not because I want to flip through them. And that might sound silly to people. I totally understand if that's not for you. I have books like that where it's like I've read, you know, ASM 252 a bunch of times. I have, you know, I can have a raw copy and I can have a couple graded copies, which is what I have. And I can go, okay, you know, like, well, I'm holding on to these graded copies kind of almost for investment or whatever you want to call it, to, you know, pass one on to my daughter so she can have a first black suit, you know, when she's starting her comic book collection or whatever it might be. I like to have those, but speaking to the you know, why can't I sell my comic books and having too many comic books and why I might want to sell my comic books, graded comic books take up a lot more fucking space.
They take up a lot more space.
Yeah.
Does anybody know there? I know there's a turnaround time where you're supposed to have them re-slabbed. They're not a forever.
They're wishy-washy. They're originally, I think they said 5 years, and then eventually, after that recommendation came out, they said, well, based on us opening some and looking at them, we think it depends more on the storage conditions and things like which makes sense, by the way. Right. But I know Kyle, for example, remember my old co-host from the EXP, Kyle, who works at for them, helps run the show over there as their executive producer. He would talk about like his family has a collection that has, it's almost like I wouldn't be surprised, you know, they have, I think, multiple AF-15s, that kind of stuff. It's a pretty insane collection. I may be misquoting a little bit there, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. He was talking about how like their books they have valued over a certain amount, they get them reholdered every, I think, 7 years or 10 years or whatever it was. Kyle, if you're watching, leave us a comment. Let me know what it was. We talked about that on an episode of Devil's Advocates. You know, and that's just part of like their annual cost. It's like, well, these books are that old and we're going to get those reholdered. And I think he even said they had CGC like comes out on site and does it or something like that, something crazy. So yeah, I mean, there's very much stuff to that.
I've been a part of that debate where we had a talk about like, where people were like, well, I do it for the preservation of the books. And they're like, well, actually, there's better ways to preserve the books that are way cheaper, like Mylar and you know, and the acid-free backer boards,
archival, yeah, exactly.
The archival supplies and stuff that will last a lot longer, and they're way more affordable than slabbing. So
I will say humidity, heat, and light are bigger factors, in my opinion, than the supplies, assuming you started out with something that is intended for comic books
Right.
to a point. And the reason I say that is because I meticulously took good care of my comic books, uh, the ones I kept. And when I got into the hobby again, I started doing some grading. And some of those books had been stored in the same bag and board for way longer than they're supposed to be, 30 plus years. And they were just in regular bags and boards that were available to some dumb kid from Washington 30 years ago. So I don't think anything special. I don't, just whatever was out there. Ultra Pro or whoever the big brand was back then. I can't remember. You probably can.
Hey.
What? No, I mean, I could have been working.
I don't think Ultra Pro wasn't the original big comic supply company. Let me think. I'm trying to think of who.
It wasn't really them either, was it?
Wasn't BC? Who was the big comic supply? Trying to think now.
I feel like there's a lot more like maybe regional brands or something.
There was back then, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But just whatever was off the shelf at the LCS, right? And those comic books came back. I mean, my G.I. Joe #1 that I read 100 times, which is on that. If you've never handled a G.I. Joe 1, it's on that thicker Baxter paper with like almost like a cardboard style cover.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you don't handle that cover nicely, like it'll show spine ticks like crazy. I got a 9.6 on it, and I'd read it 100 times probably when I was a kid. So I took care of my books, and I put a lot of that down to the storage conditions more than the storage supplies or having it graded or whatever. Now I do have it graded, so now I do both.
I remember Ryan from Automatic Comics. Shout out to Ryan, been on our show before. But he bought some books on an auction on Instagram, and they were in these really nasty bags. And they were like the old gold key Star Trek. And he's like, couldn't really tell. They said they were nice. But when he got them and he started pulling them out of those bags, they were immaculate. But those old bags had started to deteriorate on the outside, so they looked kind of foggy, and and so we pulled them out. He's like, oh, these are just pristine. From being in
now,
there.
the funny thing is, though, on some of those books, they could still look great, but you can have like color loss. Like maybe that book may have been more saturated when it was first placed in that bag or whatever. The other thing that I've seen, and this is one of my favorite things, because it's terrible, but it's also really fun, is when you encounter somebody who either didn't know better or wasn't paying attention, and they put for the old school boards, which they still, I know a lot of people still make them. I don't use them anymore, really. Where one side was coated with a base coating to absorb the acid, and the other side was not coated. It was just bare cardboard, and they would store it the wrong side, because this is like nearsighted and farsighted. Most people seem to mix up those terms. A lot of comic book collectors don't know that the smooth side of the board or the shinier side of the board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you're dealing with a board where one side is clearly different than the other, most of the time that's the case. It's because there's a base coating on there to absorb the acid that leaches out of the ink over time from the comic book.
That board, right?
And it will. And especially if it was stored in a hot and humid environment. I pulled a first Doomsday out of a bag and board that had been stored that way for like 30 years, and like the back cover, and this is the best example I've ever seen it. The back cover was like perfectly imprinted on the board in kind of like a brown acid leach kind of way, which is why.
But it's kind of surprising though. I thought when I pull that, I'm like, oh, and I look at the back of the book and I go, it doesn't look like it lost really much. It just looks like, I think it was just the acid content of the different inks made an impression on what do you call it? A shroud of Turin on the.
Yes, exactly. That's a really good way to put it. That's a great analogy, metaphor. But it's funny because it has to do with the quality of the ink on the comic. It has to do with the printing process, and it has to do with the quality of the supplies, because even if you have the coated side and you placed it in there, if you store it in a hot enough environment or a humid enough environment, or they didn't use good enough materials when they made that board, all those things can still happen, right? Um, had the backing board ready, that'd be dope. I did take a picture of it and I think I posted it. It was pretty fun. This is why you don't do this. And by the way, shame on the collectors out there. Anytime I see somebody bring this up, how to put a comic in a bag and board, how to properly store your comics, which side of the board do you use? Anytime I see people shame those presentations, it really irritates me, and I have seen it plenty of times in this hobby.
Why?
There's people out there that don't know.
Right. There's always new people coming into the hobby that want to learn the right way to do things, and and there's always new products that need demonstration, right? Like,
Totally.
yeah, I used to have some bags. Like, I got a collection at one time, and they were basically greenish color, and so I used that as a chance to make some sales. I hung them on the wall. I said, "When was the last time you rebagged your collection?"
Yeah. Well, and you made some sales, and also it's just good public service. Yeah, I won't go too far down that line. But let me just point out, if people are out there making that kind of content, maybe it isn't for you. That's fine. But it's also kind of weird to gatekeep that comment and act like it's not. Like, I saw a great video that was somebody who has a baseball card collecting channel. It was a different channel I'd never watched before. And they were saying, here's why your Facebook marketplace lot of baseball cards isn't selling for $10,000. Something like that. That was the theme of the video. And they're actually doing a good job. They're being a little cynical, but for the most part, they're doing a really good job of explaining, here's why you aren't going to get offers on your cards, because any collector knows that it's more of a headache to explain to you why that entire 10,000 baseball card collection you have from the 90s is worth $50, because I have to go through it all and most of it's worthless. And, there's probably some cool stuff in there, but there's also a ton of junk in there. You're going to have you're going to catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. Let's put it that way. That's a great piece of content. And there are comic book listings that I see all the time where it's like, man, maybe they're showing like 5 books, and it's like, well, I want that one book. It's worth like $2, but it'd be fun to have it. But they're saying, hey, $50 for the lot. It's like 50-cent bin books or something.
Yeah.
Or $5 worth of comics.
Or people are like, I've added these up. The value, the cumulative value of these cards are X amount of thousands of dollars, but it's all these 25-cent and 50-cent whatever cards. And it's like, the reality of what those cards book for, or maybe individually sell for, but the amount of work, like you're saying, that you have to do to move them. If somebody's going to do that work, they expect a hefty discount.
Yeah. And ultimately, just to say, most of the people in that hobby, it's funny, most of the people were like, oh, that's actually, good advice, or this is the best video explaining this I've ever seen before. I know if that got posted by certain people in our community, it would be like, oh, this is a video for noobs. And I could just see the comments and it's, well, actually, here's the worst thing. I'm part of groups where I would see that video get made fun of. And sometimes I call that stuff out and sometimes I don't.
I'd maybe put that even in the title. This is a video for noobs. This is a video for you guys that are
right.
That are new collectors.
Well, but I guess that's the point, is somebody who's saying this is how you bag and board a comic book. You can just assume it's for noobs and move on if you're not interested in that content, is all I'll say about it. Sorry to get on a weird rant.
Don't watch it, right?
Yeah. Now, if they do something wrong in that video, like they put the board on the wrong side of the comic on the wrong side of the board, there you go. You can nicely point that out, or whatever. I get it.
Right.
I guess all that said,
I used to do that. What Eggplant says, I used to put the board in the middle.
There's certain books I would do that for too. What I would do is I'd put one in the back and one in the middle.
Mm-hmm. I've done that
depending on the book.
Almost like I've done that where I put one in the middle and to kind of tighten that thing in the bag, and then put it in a tightly packed box to almost like press a book.
Yeah. Yeah, not fully, but like kind of, to prevent that spine roll a little bit more.
Right, yeah, or correct
Yeah.
a spine roll. I've done that too.
Yeah,
where it will
exactly.
correct the spine roll over time.
Yeah. There's kind of fun stuff here that's making me think about some future video ideas that we can kind of get into a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think we're having a lively discussion here that's going to bear some fruit down the road.
Yeah, I buy most of my supplies these days. I buy from Comic Pro line, and they make there's a few manufacturers of clear boards out there, but they make a really nice clear board. Mostly, I've gotten their 60-point. Well, actually, all I've gotten are their 60-point clear boards, which is even thicker than like a full back. And I use that for like really nice books, and I use it for books where I want to see the back cover.
Double-sided books, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But they also make like a 26-point clear board now, and I'm really curious to try those just for.
I've seen the really thin ones, and they almost. I've had a little bit of experience with some of the really thin clear boards, and they're almost like a razor blade sometimes to the bag when you put them in, because
that can make sense.
They want to slice the edges of them, want to slice the bag open.
Well, and I will say that at least with Comic Pro line, at least they put a film on each one too, so they don't come scratched.
Yeah.
And I think they do that even for the thinner size. I could be wrong, but I will say this because I will have to mention this. I know some people criticize Comic Pro line because the bags split easily. And this is a little tangent. You're going to see Chris go on a little bit of a rant here. You can make those comic book bags split. Any one of them. The OPP bags they have, and to a lesser extent the Mylars. You can force them to split because of the way that they're made. They're pressed together. Maybe I'm talking my butt here, but the way they're pressed together, and then they're like heat sealed or laser heat sealed or whatever on the edges, versus however polypropylene bags are made, which I don't know if they're extruded that way or whatever, or they're sealed using a different process.
They're sealed very similarly.
Yeah. But so it affects that material differently because there's more of a visible seam on the OPP bags. So I see people trashing them all the time because they split easily, but you have to kind of start them splitting, in my experience, on purpose or by being negligent, as in like putting a really thick board in like crooked to start splitting the seam. I have seen maybe 4 bags out of the thousands I've bought of theirs that were split naturally on their own. And maybe other people have different experiences, but I've stand behind those, and they're not a sponsor. I don't have any discount codes or promo codes for them. Not an affiliate. I've tried actually.
I will say, if you guys like the feel of Mylar, but you want a more affordable bag, I used to work in the hobby supply industry, and the BOPP, or this biaxially oriented polypropylene is really similar to Mylar, and it's very affordable. So it's pretty nice. And I know Chris bags almost all his stuff in the BOPP.
But the biaxially oriented is different than regular OPP though.
It's the same material, right? It's the same thing. They just didn't put the B on it.
Okay, I thought chemically
that's oriented polypropylene.
Okay. Yeah. So that aside, I mean, they're and they also have that look of Mylar where the detail shows up a little bit clearer because you don't get that wrinkly prismatic effect or whatever that you get on polypropylene.
They're nice and glossy like a Mylar.
Yeah,
and they show very well.
Yeah, and I know like Comic Ozzy, I think, uses Comic Pro line on, and he should, he always is posting comic.
I think Brian LCS just did a video about how he loves Comic Pro line, but he got hit with a tariff.
Yes, well, and they're upfront. Well, they've been upfront in their email communications because I get their emails about their tariff situation because they're based out of Canada.
Right. The tariff he got hit with was, I guess, some of their cardboard is made in China, and so he got hit with the China tariff for the cardboard boxes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm seeing some conversation here. I use the silver stuff for my kind of bronze and newer, and I use the golden stuff for my silver.
See, I used to be the guy who wanted the really snug bag that had no white showing of the backer border on the edges because it makes it look cooler and sleeker. And then I started to
That was the
understand,
style.
like, I want a buffer that keeps those corners safe. I want Silver Age bags on all of my modern books.
And I don't know if it's the material or just their sizing or whatever, but compared to some competitors, when I put my stuff into the Comic Line supplies that I get, the book is almost suspended better. It's not being pressed tight. It's not being squished unless it's a really thick book, in which case you're using the wrong size bag and board, because you should probably go up a size, just like condoms. It's but it's being, you do get not just white on the edges, but also along the bottom, without any part of the book being squished. And that's the right level, because think about when you're moving your books around in a box, the bottom of the comic book, you don't want it scraping against the cardboard, or if you do drop a comic book a couple of inches or whatever onto a table, you don't want the corner of the book to be what touches the table. You want the board to be what absorbs that impact, just like a phone protector. Okay, well, this has been Comics 101 with Chris and Bigby.
No, I mean, we're talking about our preferences in supplies.
I think with that said, I have a whole bunch of really cool news stories.
You should do those.
Well, I'm gonna kind of quickly go through them, because I do want to try to at least end the show on time. I said I wanted to make it shorter, and that's obviously not happening. But
well, yeah. I mean, there was still a lot we could talk about on the topic of selling. So I think it deserves further exploration.
But we will definitely revisit parts of this, hopefully based on some of your comments. But John Byrne made a tease about having some big news coming on Thursday on, I believe, a forum or his blog. I'm not actually sure. Because last October he said he had some news. He had a recent post where he was saying he had some news. But there was some talk about we've talked about this before, the John Byrne X-Men Elsewind stuff he's been doing,
right? Where
he's kind of been telling the stories as if he had kind of never stopped, in a way, essentially, and continuing that on. We may be seeing that come to print.
That's awesome.
That would be dope. And this is something we may revisit. I know Chris covered this on his channel. I was hoping to kind of read the article live. I don't mean to go breakneck speed, but I do kind of move on to a few other stories.
Yeah. No,
as we learn more about this, we'll kind of revisit this, I think.
Let's hit it and quit it.
So much innuendo talk here on the show tonight. This is pretty cool. Some news coming out of Dynamite, a company that, if you're following the news, we'll talk about a little bit. Dynamite, Image, a few other publishers having some problems with their previous relationship with Diamond. But they have a new announcement coming out about Supernatural, which is a show that I loved and watched most of. But I love the parts I watched. They have a new series coming out. It's an official Supernatural comic book series. And it's coming from our team at Dynamite. Here's one of the covers here. I was trying to look at the release date. Oh boy. But it is going to be written by Greg Pak, which is really cool. So, not a slouch when it comes to writing. And I don't know how to pronounce this person's name. I'm so sorry, but Eater Messias is what I'm going to go with. Who did some work with Pak on Captain America Sam Wilson. And you're going to have, the Clayton Crane cover here, which looks pretty cool. I was trying to catch the date.
Was there a Supernatural comic series before that? Or is this the first one? Okay.
No, there definitely was a series before. I think the article actually even mentioned that up here. It's been over a decade since there had been an official Supernatural comic book series.
Okay.
And when there was last a comic book, it was by Warner Brothers' own comic book company, DC, through Wildstorm imprint. But they've continued to, Dynamite has continued to pursue the license for years, and now the pursuit has paid off with Dynamite launching its own supernatural comic book series. I'm so sorry, folks. I thought there was a date in here. If there is, it's due out in October. So
October.
it's
That's,
probably
that's
not
a
even
good time for it.
Yeah, there we go. I knew there was a date somewhere. I have to mention this to be timely, because if I don't, probably won't get a chance to talk to you guys about it, and maybe and somebody else will cover it here. But this was something that one of my esteemed viewers was awesome enough to share with me. I thought this was a cool story. George Lucas and Guillermo del Toro and some others in the film industry are going to SDCC for a big announcement, a mystery announcement. Interesting, because George Lucas hasn't really been doing much since he sold Star Wars and I think other properties associated with that to Disney. But yeah, so this is really interesting to see, especially. I think a lot of people were saying like, "Oh, Star Wars news." I'm like, I don't think it's. I think this will be something else. Like, if he's going with Guillermo del Toro and some others, I have a feeling maybe it's like a new production company, or maybe they have some kind of new, like a DreamWorks kind of thing in the pipeline that they're going to do, or they have, or maybe it's a project he's writing and Guillermo's directing or something. That'd be cool. But Hall H at SDCC,
FX Studio or something, maybe. Or...
I mean, it seems like they already do that, so I don't know that it would be that, but maybe,
right?
Maybe. But yeah, I'm excited for whatever that announcement is. So let's stay tuned for that. And then coming to us from ICV2 here, there are several Humble bundles, which somebody pointed out in one of our chats at one point, I think, or maybe it was just a chat I was in. And I really wanted to highlight this because there's some really good ones out there. Go check out Humble Bundle to support some comic book publishers, including Dynamite, who I've been talking about trying to support with what they're going through with Diamond. They have a 20,000 page mega rebundle on there with some Red Sonja, Army of Darkness, Project Superpowers, Vampirella, Sheena, Deja Thoris, and more. There's a James Tynion the fourth bundle on there with some Nice House on the Lake and Something Is Killing Children and House of Slaughter and all kinds of good stuff from him. Return of the Leading Ladies and Saga and a bunch of other stuff in here too. You should go check out. And then Star Trek has a comics mega bundle as well. So Humble bundles, usually you can kind of use a slider on there to support who you want that they're supporting, whether it's the company or Humble Bundle or whoever. You can kind of choose your donation amount, and depending on how much you donate, you'll unlock more comics or whatever. And then at least the last time I purchased from Humble Bundle, their comic books were DRM free. So I think that's still the way it is. It's been a while since I bought them because I usually buy through other storefronts now, but just for try to get some different books than they have. But yeah, go check that out. And then this is another story from ICV2. It was kind of just some updates on some projects. I know this was kind of the big news I thought was kind of crazy. Taika Waititi is directing a new Judge Dredd movie, which is bizarre to me for pairing there. I'm curious to see what it's like, because I love Thor Ragnarok and like Jojo Rabbit and a few other Taika Waititi projects are amazing to me, but I don't know, man. I like that last Judge Dredd movie, and I cannot see him making a super serious, Carl Urban Judge Dredd movie at this point in his career. Sony pushed back Spider-Man Beyond the Sonyverse, beyond the Spider-Verse, not the Sonyverse. That's funny. So it was originally set to come out June 4th, 2027, and it's now June 25th, 2027. It's been a long wait for that film. So they're trying to reboot Wonder Woman over at DC Studios now after the success of Superman. That's been, I think, kind of pushed up on their radar is kind of what the story we're seeing. And then Invincible, I know there was a teaser that came out. I haven't seen it yet, but they were renewed for season 5, according to Deadline, which is really cool. And there's also a Mortal Kombat 2 trailer that came out. There was an Alien Earth TV show, which looks pretty cool. I watched that trailer. It's going to be on FX and Hulu, and it has Timothy Olyphant in it, which I'm excited about.
Mortal
I like that
Kombat
actor
2
quite a
has
bit.
Carl Urban in it too.
Oh yeah. Good point. Good point. I actually hadn't seen this trailer yet, but I just saw that name when you said
He's
that. That's
playing
cool.
Johnny Cage.
Nice. That's awesome.
He's like doing the autograph circuit. Great.
I love it. And then kind of the last thing, there was another trailer. Oh, Tron Ares had a trailer come out, the new trailer that
Oh, is there a
unfortunately
Neutron Ares? I got to check that out.
unfortunately it showcased Jared Leto a lot more than I want him to be in that movie. Which is funny because the first trailer had like one quick shot of his face. And this trailer, he's like the main. He's clearly like the main character of the movie. He's a program.
He's like the villain,
So
maybe.
yeah. So basically, not to spoil the trailer, I hope. It looks like the company, whatever they're called, I don't know if they have the same name or not, but they're making like soldiers. They're able to bring programs, 3D print them essentially into real life, kind of like how Korra came back to life with Sam in Tron Legacy, I'm guessing. And so he's the first like super soldier they bring out, and they're like, oh, and the best thing is, even if he dies, we can just build you a new one. And they create like 4 or 5 soldiers, and then it looks like they try to take over, maybe like they're not so willing programs, basically.
Hey,
Yeah, and then
DJ
9 Inch
Moonfell,
Nails.
that's interesting. Yeah.
9 Inch Nails do soundtrack, which is cool.
Yeah.
I love Tron Legacy, and I love the Tron franchise. Over on Comic Drift's channel, we were talking about the Tron Uprising cartoon, which is good as well. But yeah, Jared Leto, all the allegations that came out against him and stuff, it just sours me on him, which I never really loved him. I thought he was okay in Fight Club. That's my Jared Leto experience. Oh, and Requiem for a Dream. But this is kind of the latest. Bleeding Cool. You can say what you want about Bleeding Cool and Rich Johnson. They've been doing a really good job covering the Diamond Saga, and the Diamond Saga has gone on for too long. And unfortunately, each update is bad. But Image is now coming out saying that Diamond is stealing $3 million worth of comics from them. So this goes back to essentially when Image was leaving Diamond, they then requested a bunch of their stock back and never got it back, apparently. And now there's been all these, allegations about Diamond now selling off some of those assets to pay some of their debts. And I know there are other companies that are irritated about this same kind of stuff and are owed money. It is just it's a cluster, is what I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, I worked for a supply company, and we had a lot of stuff with Diamond's gaming side. And when we ended our relationship with them, it was really messy getting the inventory back.
Yeah, it's. Oh, yep. Good call out from Jay, by the way. I missed that in the article. Anna Noriega, I think Noguera, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, is writing Wonder Woman, by the way. That's cool. Chad, I love it. Yeah, that's a really solid list, actually. Yeah, Sin City. Yeah, I would maybe find a way to work Watchmen into that list. I know the ending pisses a lot of people off, but I think they got a lot of things right.
So it's such a strong movie.
Yeah. And the HBO series is peak, by the way. I did not think you could do a sequel,
I loved it,
but it was great. But yeah, this is really unfortunate. This is why I'm saying, like, hey, let's support some of these companies that are dealing with fallout from this, like Image, like Dynamite, and I know there's others involved too. And I hope that they're able to see the restitution from this that they deserve, from what I can tell. I'm not a lawyer, but that's just what I can tell from looking at it. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but hopefully they get what they're needed, what they're owed.
Then we didn't talk about what we watched. I watched Deep Cover the other day. It was really good.
That's a really good movie. I watched that the other day with
Really,
Autumn.
it was hilarious. I loved
Yeah,
it.
I liked it a lot. I thought that was kind of snuck under the radar.
Right? I was like, I'll check this out. I was like, oh wow, this is really, really, really funny.
Yeah. And I've been watching the Jurassic Park stuff. We're kind of, my daughter got into dinosaurs again, and we were kind of introducing her to some of that, and it's been fun. She just, we were just started the final movie that's not out in theaters today, so we've been kind of racing through those. That's mostly what I've been watching. Oh, and I've been rewatching The Expanse because I've been reading the James S.A. Corey novel series. That's such a good show, and the books are fantastic.
Right on.
Okay,
good.
so I only had 2 pieces of community art. And I know Steve, if you're still watching, you said you sent yours in. We'll feature that. We'll get it on the next show.
Sure.
I have 2 pieces of art
my
that I have prepped
apologies
and
to
ready.
people who sent stuff. I dropped the ball today. I had a really long day at work, so I'm sorry.
Well, you had a really long day, man. You're allowed to have that happen. So thank you for saying that, but I think you can take the week off and you're good. This is from CJ Design. CJ Design will have a awesome Green Lantern. It's the 3 main Green Lanterns, at least in my opinion. I guess I shouldn't say that definitively, but Hal Jordan, Guy Gardner, and John Stewart. I guess Kyle Rayner would probably be the main 3. Sorry. So it's Guy Gardner, Hal Jordan, and John Stewart. He has a sketch cover that he's going to have up for auction on Saturday. So if you like his stuff here, definitely go check it out.
I really
love
like
this.
that. His color is great. Good job.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite. There's been 3 or 4 he sent us that I've really, 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 really loved, and this is definitely in that top few for me of his. He's done a great job on.
Yeah.
And then this comes from Headless Hammerhead, former owner of Dangerous Waters Comics, which unfortunately no longer out there as a comic book shop, but you guys might remember him from some of my videos. The day he was a sponsor for a while. So he did this. I'm going to read you what he wrote. It's a dragon design for an upcoming D&D book called Dragons that he's doing. This is the Dust Dragon, a dragon that can turn opponents to dust and can itself disappear like dust in the wind. Very cool. So I'm glad he sent that in. That's
love it.
It's awesome. I was going to zoom in a little bit because I know it's because of the aspect ratio. I can't make it super big, but give you a little bit more closer look on there because it's just a photo, but very good. Nice. We love your community art. I know there's probably more of it that we could show off. Here's what I can promise you. If you like the community art segment on the show, if you like community art, you're going to love our auction we have coming up on Saturday. I'm trying to get ready to draw a piece myself that will be on there, but I'll be running the show too. I'm sure Big B can help out run the show a little bit as well, but I'll be attempting to draw, but I'll at least be hosting. A bunch of community artists, actual Dracula and Roscoe, and we'll have pieces from CJ Design, and we'll have Rich Stankey, and just, there's so many people, Scott Hasselwood, and Elliot Wright, and Erwin Papa, and so many people you've seen on here before. List goes on and on and on. If you're interested in watching that, tune in Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific or 5 p.m. Eastern on my channel, Bronze Age Nerd. The link is in the description below. All the proceeds are going to Mission 22 to help veterans. So if you want to help veterans, that's what you got to do. We'd love you to bookmark that show and give it a thumbs up. So, and just watch, even if you can't bid, just watch, share it out to groups you like, so we can raise some money for a great cause. I won't be back.
Like positive comments go, just if you're watching,
definitely.
Just letting what you like about people's art. It's great, even better, better than money sometimes.
Oh, thanks, Chad. That's really nice of you to say.
Thank you, Chad.
We're very glad you appreciate it. We do it because you guys still keep coming back, and hey, share the show out to people that you think would enjoy it as well. But yeah, if you're interested in being part of that stream in any way, shape, or form, reach out to us. Whether you have a piece you might want to donate and we can auction off, or if you want to partake, we'd love to hear from you. And even if we can't fit you into this one, if we fill up too many people on the screen or whatever, we can write your name in and get you involved for when we plan the next one, because we are going to do more of these as well.
Yeah, we can either put you in one of those, or we can put if you donate a piece of art, it can go into the next little Heroes for Heroes show that we have. That's not even that doesn't have to specifically be a art stream, you know. So it could be part of the art and comics and all the other stuff too. So
yeah, if you ever have any curiosity, if you ever have any questions, that's the phrase I'm looking for, about anything to do with Heroes for Heroes or how you could help or anything about it, you can reach out to Big B, you can reach out to me. I always provide my email, thebronzeagenerd, all one word, @gmail.com. And I'd be more than happy to answer that stuff for you. Or if you have questions for, there's people who have like tax questions. If you have those kind of questions, I can get you in touch with Mission 22 so you can be assured that, like, oh, I'm going to get a receipt for this, and here's how we itemize it and all that kind of stuff. If you care about that level of things. If you donate to our campaign that we posted in the chat earlier and it is linked in the description below, you automatically get a receipt for your tax purposes, by the way. So,
right.
Other than that, I think I've talked and said all the things I needed to say. Do you have anything that you want to say, baby?
I want to say I love all you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you for all your support. I hit, what was it, 700,000 views on my videos the other day.
Dude, that's awesome.
Just like, holy crap.
That's cool.
So, I mean, that's including all the shorts and everything else. So,
well, yeah, people still watched.
Yeah. So I appreciate everybody who subscribes and members and just viewers and everything else. So in the comments we love your guys' comments. Comments are awesome. If you're watching on the rewind, please drop us a line. Just say hi, whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily have to be, mind-blowing, insightful stuff. Just say hi or say you like the show. We appreciate hearing that stuff.
Yeah. And then our producer Jay is Hydra Asylum Comics in the chat. He's part of that channel. You can also follow along with some of his content on the EXP, like Minute to Skim It tomorrow night. Go check out the EXP for that. Make sure you're subbed up so you get those alerts, and you can bookmark those shows. But also subscribe to Jay at Hydra Asylum Comics. He's helping us behind the scenes. He's putting in all the questions and all the actors that we can't remember and all that kind of stuff, and handling, the weird spam and all those kinds of things. So if you guys can go show him some love, we'd appreciate that as well.
We're going to press him into service here to be a substitute bronze.
Yeah. Again, so if you are watching, I'm not going to be here next week and probably not the week after. The show may go on. We'll have updates about that as the things. It probably will go on. That's what I should say.
We'll do something.
Yeah. So there'll be some form of Best Coast Comics episode 53 next week. So that's gonna be awesome. You're gonna have to, if you don't come wearing like
52, is this episode 52?
I believe this is 52.
So that's an officially like a year's worth of one a week.
Yeah, but it didn't work that way, right? Because that's
right,
where
we skipped some weeks, and then originally we weren't.
We were every other week for a while,
right? Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then we definitely skipped some for illness or events we were doing or whatever. But
right, I was just saying, if you decided you wanted to watch like one episode a week, it would take you a year.
Yeah, I need to get that playlist together. The full on my channel. At least I need to get the full playlist together.
Yeah, no, I'll copy it over to my channel too. That'd be awesome.
Cool. And I guess the last thing I'll say is if you have any topics that you want to see us cover, make sure you leave a comment about those too. If you're not fast enough to type it in the live chat right now, still would love to hear about that. Some of the things we've talked about over the last few months have come from the chat, have come from the viewers or conversations we've had with you, offline or whatever. Right. And that's some valuable stuff because we definitely get some fresh ideas that way. And then if you guys are in, we've told you before, you guys are just as much a part of the show watching as we are up here talking about
show. A third host of our show is you guys. Like, you guys are a big part of the show.
Yeah, you're a guest every week. Even if we have a special guest here on screen, we still have you guests in the chat, and we really appreciate that. So
we love all your humor and insight and knowledge that you share. So
you're trolling and all
of it. All of it.
All right. On that note, I think we're ready to sign off here. Over on the West Coast, we're shutting it down. On the West Coast, you guys are going to be waking up in a few hours over there. On the East Coast or wherever you're watching from, We appreciate you watching on the rewind if that's where you're watching. If you were here watching live, we appreciate you doing that as well. And love to see you here on Saturday for that comic book community art stream that we're doing for Heroes for Heroes. Have a great week, everybody. And Big B will be back next week to show you the ropes on a new topic. And I'll catch you in a little while. Have a good one, everybody.